welcome to Tea on Thursdays. It's me, your boy JJ, also known as your gay best friend, and we're back with another show. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll definitely be telling you about mine later on in the show, but first, let's get to it. The tea, that is. Child, have y'all watched the Wendy Williams show lately? I know I haven't. It's a mess. It's a mess. Jerry and Steve? Who the fuck wants to watch them? Bill Bellamy? Who wants to watch him? Michelle and Leah are back? I don't do repeats. But I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to talk about Miss Wendy herself, okay? So with that being said, there have been a slew of reports going around about Miss Wendy Williams allegedly being wheelchair bound and suffering from early signs of dementia. That sounds a little extreme if you ask me, okay? So let's start from the beginning, and I want to make sure you guys follow me because there's a lot going on here, okay? So news dropped this week on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show after it was alleged by Tasha K that she interviewed Wendy Williams' brother Tommy. Now we know Wendy and Tommy have not always gotten along. Family is family. We've seen them kind of throw shots at each other online, but let's get into the story. So on Tasha K's YouTube show, she pretty much stated that Wendy was done and that Lionsgate had her in a safe house. She said it like this: Wendy Williams is done. I hate to say it, but Wendy Williams is done. She also stated that she had lost all blood circulation from her feet and her legs, okay? And that her vertigo was out of control. Where do you get these things from, Tasha? I really want to know. Who are your sources? But just as hard as the devil works, the Lord works even harder, okay? The Lord works very, very hard. So with that being said, there was some recent footage of Miss Wendy Williams walking out of a wellness center in Miami. Take a look.
Hey Wendy, are you sad about the show being canceled? Any plans for a new show? Everyone does hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck to you, alright? Sorry to bug you.
Thank you very much. It's okay.
Is your recovery going okay? Because everyone is really concerned.
Wendy is doing fabulous.
She's doing fabulous.
Yeah.
Any more words for the fans?
Lots more Wendy stuff.
That's good to hear.
Bye.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks, Wendy.
Now, I was a little uncomfortable when I heard the paparazzi man say cancellation. Who said the show was being canceled? I ain't hear that. But she walked out barefoot, y'all. Barefoot, okay? She was helped by her son, Kevin Jr., okay? We all know him. They've been very, very close since, the separation from her and her husband. But she walked out barefoot, and she seemed like she was in very good spirits. And she seemed like she had a lot to look forward to. So let's not count out Miss Wendy yet, honey, because we know about cucarachas. We ain't going nowhere, okay? Let's send our prayers to Wendy Williams, please and thank you, because when she comes back, I truly hope that she eats up all the girls that was sitting there and beating her up while she was down, honey. They swear they're going to get the Wendy Williams C-child, but nobody's checking for them. The next story we're going to get into is Travis Scott. He's been sprinkled all in the news. But this time it's not looking good. But when is it ever? So remember when I reported on Ezra, the young 9-year-old kid who had passed due to brain damage from pretty much being trampled? So Ezra's family and some of the other family members of the deceased are declining Travis Scott's offer to literally pay for their funerals. I mean, it's the right thing for him to do. But what's also right for him to do is not incite riots at his concerts. We've seen that. We've been there. We've done that, right? He's been in hot water for it before, as I've previously reported. So with that being said, how about you just deal with those lawsuits? Because that should be your main concern. I understand that you are concerned for the families, but once you are in a lawsuit, you can't go and reach out to the people that are suing you to pay for their funerals. It's kind of like a bribery scheme. Not necessarily a scheme, but it could be considered as bribery. And at the end of the day, they'll pay for those funerals, but they'll get the cost back once they successfully win these lawsuits. Ooh, child. Let's just hope the Kardashians don't turn on you, child, because you know how they do. So remember on the last show when I told y'all about Portia Williams coming out with her book? Well. She went on the Tamron Hall show this week. And she pretty much went to speak about her experiences. She went to speak about the book. Clearly, she went to promote the book. But she definitely was speaking about some specific life experiences, including her suicidal thoughts as a child, as well as her experience with R. Kelly. This video is provided by Tamron Hall. Take a look.
A lot for me. It really was. It took me some time to get to the place to be ready to speak to a lot of different things in the book. I knew if I ever did a book, it needed to be 100% honest and transparent. And in order for my book to be effective in the purpose of the book, which is to inspire someone else, tell my testimony so someone else can see themselves in my story, I had to really revisit some very emotional, painful things in my past. And so I was nervous to release that.
Yeah.
But
a lot of this didn't even come up on the
now.
show. So a lot of this did not come up on the show.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I do speak about housewives. I mean, how could I write a whole book and leave out 10 years of my life?
Yeah.
But a lot of the book is from childhood, focuses on 20 to 30 years old. Because that's when I really dealt with a lot of pitfalls I found myself in, some bad decisions.
I found it to be so touching and revealing. You talk about your childhood, and one of the things you revealed in the book is that as a child, you had contemplated suicide. You said, I couldn't tell my mom that I'd held a bottle of pills, thinking about swallowing all of them, but deciding against it because I feared I'd be brain dead, and I definitely didn't want that to be. You were a kid. What was causing, or what did you learn was at the heart of these feelings for such a young kid to think about?
At that age, I didn't know what was causing it. I wanted to make sure I discussed it in the book because it's something that parents don't think about.
How old were you when you had your first thought of suicide?
I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember. I was definitely probably around the age of 10, somewhere around there. I had dealt with a lot of bullying in school. I didn't think much of myself, even though I had such a strong mother and a great provider. I had my father there as well. So I had a support system. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's not just kids who've been neglected who find themselves in those dark places. And this conversation needs to be had so mothers and their kids, fathers and their kids can talk about this. That was really, really tough for me to revisit, even as a grown woman. Because when you think of depression now, when I think of it now and I identify as, okay, that's depression. I didn't know then, when I took the scarf and put it on the door, what that action was. I didn't really know. All I can say at this moment, it was by the grace of God to save me in that moment. Because you, as a child, you don't think that once you stop your breath, it doesn't come back. And so I think that's why a lot of children, God rest their soul, we are suffering from that now in our nation. A lot of kids have died from suicide. So I want to talk about that. But by passing through that as a child, I kept facing those same demons over and over. And that's what the book traces, that whole journey.
You also, from childhood to your point, young adulthood, reveal something I did not know, and I don't think many people knew, this relationship with R. Kelly. And you write about him. I wanted to believe I wasn't a girl he was locking in his room to use whenever he wanted. You kept your interactions with him a secret. When he started to be accused of these crimes against young girls, and then it escalates, and then it's on trial, and he's convicted, were you thinking, I've got to tell? Or did you think, I don't want to be in the middle of this?
You know, putting R. Kelly's name in the book, because some people I named, some people I didn't name, and putting his name in the book, it's just putting a name to another face that I had already encountered before. He had just been one of the men who was a predator in my life, who had taken advantage of me and mentally abused me in my life. So I saw him no different than those same men. That same darkness, that same treatment, they faced and met the same Portia who did not know her self-worth. I didn't love myself. I didn't see who I was in those situations. You know, I was a grown woman. I had a penthouse in Buckhead. I had my own business. I wasn't your usual so-called victim. But because as a young woman, I did not value who I was, I only wanted to be what someone else thought I needed to be.
You wrote in
so
this
that's how I
book-
found myself in those situations.
You wrote, which I think it's interesting how you say you found yourself in these situations. I felt when I was reading it, is she blaming herself for some of this? And you wrote, I'm of R. Kelly at the time. I'm in his bedroom. I've already been in his house for hours. It's 3 or 4 in the morning. I've already put myself in this position. This is what you're supposed to do. You have to do it. There's no turning back. That's what you wrote about your first one of the sexual encounters. And I thought, why is she saying this? I put myself in this position.
When I wrote those moments in the book and being that detailed, I had to go back to that mind frame. And a lot of victims do blame themselves.
Yeah.
They honestly do. We think, the public could tell you, anybody could tell you there's every reason why you should not be there. So that causes you to blame yourself. So I did a lot of victim blaming, a lot of shaming of myself. And that's what silenced me for a very long time to speak out on any of the sexual abuse that I encountered in my life. And I often thought about, oh my gosh, especially when I got on Housewives, it was like, I have this platform, you know, people are starting to know me. Let me start using my voice. But I just felt so small still. I wasn't ready. I hadn't healed and gotten to the place to be able to speak up like those women did on the R. Kelly special. You know, us as victims, we have to get to a place and deal with what we went through and what our mind frame was at the time to be able to speak out and help somebody else.
That was a lot to digest. It was a lot to digest, and I'm very appreciative of Portia for using her platform to speak about things that will help others. Okay, there's so many people that suffer from that, suicidal thoughts, mental health. So many people suffer in silence. So when you have someone like Portia Williams, who is a public figure, Black woman, that she goes on these platforms and really is honest about those experiences, it is definitely appreciative. Now, in regards to the R. Kelly stuff, ooh, baby, that was tea. That was tea. I don't really know how to feel about it, but I'm very proud of Portia Williams. You can see that she's had a lot of growth over the years, bank account included. And I'm not mad at her, you know, because I'm literally using an affirmation right now. And if you're not in a relationship and you're not married, this one is for you. Repeat after me. I will marry into money. A wealthy man is going to wife me up. And I truly believe that shit. Okay, honey? What is life about if you don't dream? Okay, so speaking of housewives, Andy Conda. Andy Conda Cohen. Andy Conda Cohen was being interviewed by The Real. He was on the show The Real on Fox. And he was definitely speaking about the co-host. I think Lonnie asked him a question about Nene returning to the Housewives of Atlanta. And you know Andy Conda is always with the shade, honey. Okay. So with that being said, this is what Nene had to say when she appeared on The Real, and this is what Andy had to say. Take a look.
Come from her, I find Garcelle to be a true joy.
Now, former Housewives of Atlanta star Nene Leakes was recently on our show. She said that she would be up for returning to the show if you two had a conversation. Check out what she said, Andrew.
I think Andy and I were really close for a really, really long time. And I love Benny Boo, and I helped pay for his baby shower and all those things. I think that Andy and I need to have a sit down and talk, and then we're off to the races.
So,
boy.
what's your response, Annie?
Well, you know, first of all, I love it that you keep calling me Andrew because that is my name, Lonnie. I am Andrew J. Cohen, so very good. You know, we're in the midst of shooting season 14 of the Atlanta Housewives, and it's great. And Marlo has her peach, and Sheree is back. And we have some new faces and some great faces, and Kenya Moore is on fire. And so I am really focused right now on season 14 of the Housewives of Atlanta and not really looking beyond that right now.
Yeah, looking ahead. So
It's embarrassing, honey. You went and you slammed the producers, you slammed Andy, you slammed everybody and their mama on that show, and you have the audacity to say that you want to come back? That's like working at McDonald's saying, fuck this job, you know, literally trashing the place, walking out, and then going to another McDonald's to apply. Who are you fooling, child? We know you might need the coin. But it's not Nene-esque of you. It's not Nene-esque. We all know Nene. What was her famous quote? I said what I said. Well, keep that energy, girl, because this here is embarrassing. So I reported on my last show about Stevie J. I know y'all remember that one. That was a real, had my heart racing a little bit. But we all seen Stevie J come for his wife, Faith Evans' neck on video, honey. So of course, naturally, Stevie J goes to the site that it was dropped on Instagram, and he goes ahead and apologizes to his wife, Faith. Okay? Take a look.
Happy holidays, everybody. I'd like to make this video for my wife. A video was released last week that showed me like talking crazy to my wife and publicly humiliating my wife. I'd like to apologize and say sorry that I even allowed somebody to come in my home and steal a computer and be able to do that to us. You're an amazing person. I'd like to apologize to your family. They don't deserve that either. Nah, she ain't she. I was just in the moment, you know how us guys do. I like to take the time to apologize to you, Faith, and let you know I love you. And I'm here for you, always. Always.
So I just wanted to shout out the Neighborhood Talk again for this video footage. Appreciate you. But my immediate thoughts is, what the fuck? Okay? I don't think that was insincere. So I don't think that was a sincere apology at all. And I think people really don't understand what apologies are. Apologies is when you are sorry for something, you admit what you did wrong and how, or maybe how you would change in the future, and actually apply that. You don't go ahead talking about, oh, I can't believe somebody came into my home and stole a hard drive. So you telling me if that never came out, you would have never apologized? Fitting for the men. They're always wildin'. Faith, run! So, this story right here, honey. This story right here. This story right here. Let the show begin, honey. Jussie Smollett is headed to trial. We're on day 3 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And actually day 4. Day 4. So if I'm not mistaken, it's day 4. So Jussie, let me just give you guys the rundown really quickly. Jussie was accused about 3 years ago for filing a false police report claiming he was a victim of a hate crime. According to AP News, Jussie is facing 6 counts of disorderly conduct, and they are listed as class 4 felonies, which in the state of Illinois is the lowest part of a felony. It's not like a high felony where you get like 25 years to life or death or anything like that. Probably just serve some probation or whatever the case may be, but 6 counts is pretty hefty. So if he is convicted on all 6 counts, he can face up to 3 years in prison. We'll see what happens with that, child. Stay tuned. So allegedly, and I say this very, very loosely, honey, Jussie allegedly hired two brothers who were also extras on the set of Fox's once hit show Empire, which Jussie was the one who fucked that up for everybody. So literally they were extras on the show, and he paid them each $3,500, or together $3,500. I'm assuming each because, you know, who the fuck is splitting $3,500 down the middle? I'm not. Give me the whole shit, especially for what you want me to do, right? So with that being said, the two brothers that I was just speaking of, they were allegedly seen on surveillance camera buying ski masks. They were buying a rope, you know, I guess to make whatever the news was, whatever the case may be, a mess. Duct tape, you get the story, right? You get the point. So with that being said, they were given $100 to go buy those props. This is according to them in their testimony, by the way. So prosecutors are saying that Jussie allegedly and the brothers allegedly did a dry run of the attack the day before, and it's on camera. I'd kill to see that footage, okay? I want to see what this dry run looks like. Jussie, did you know practice makes perfect? You should know that as an actor. I mean, at least be a better actor if you're going to do some crazy shit like that. But anyway. So the brothers are saying that Jussie allegedly came to them because he was upset that the studio was not taking the death threats and the hate mail seriously. So he wanted to prove a point. Well, that you did, child. That you did. Let this be a lesson to everybody. Please let this be a lesson to everybody. Don't do dumb shit, because it will always come back to the light. It just does. It does. It naturally has, especially when you're doing the real dumb shit, it definitely has a way to come back to light. So I'll definitely be sure to keep you all posted on that. There'll definitely be more developments to come with that one, honey. Okay, so I did want to give a small review. Last night I went to a Broadway show, honey, and I went to see a Broadway show, and the show was called Thoughts of a Colored Man. And I'm going to kind of review it without giving too much away, because I definitely want you all, and I definitely feel like you all should go out and check it out. But every time Luke James opened his mouth to sing, I got shivers down my spine. I'm getting them now, right now. I got shivers down my spine. His voice is just beautiful. And to hear that live and in person, I couldn't be more appreciative. So thank you, Kenya. Thank you, girl. Love you. The show was current. It definitely made room for all of the intersectionalities that happen in our community. Not all, but the main one, gay men. It was full of wisdom. It made me think a lot. And yes, I cried. I cried over everything, child. I cried over everything. So yeah, I fucking cried. But with that being said, guys, please go make sure you go see Thoughts of a Colored Man. You can get tickets on Broadway, Ticketmaster. You can get tickets online. Okay. And what I'm aware of is that, well, I will recommend you this. Don't get a middle seat. Don't get a middle seat. Try to get end seats, because, baby, they had us squished up in there like sardines, and I did not like it. I was sitting next to a rather large woman. At one point, she was snoring during the show. I had to look at Kenya and bump Kenya like, look at this shit. You believe this shit? But with that being said, it was a really good show, and I definitely urge you all to go and see it. Now, we're going to get a little personal. I'm going to take this end of the show to get a little personal with you all. Thanksgiving has gone and passed, and I'm very, very thankful for that, honey. The holidays are usually a really, really difficult time for me. As you all know, I'm still unemployed. And during these times, especially throughout the holidays, I've learned to make sure that I'm working on every holiday, simply because it keeps me busy, so I don't have time to sit and A, wallow, B, cry, or C, search Instagram and Facebook and see everybody's, with their families or whatever the case may be. At this point, I'd kill for a fucking family argument. Like, on a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, on a New Year's. Like at this point, but growing up, I was definitely surrounded by a lot of people. And not necessarily all good people, but there were people. And, as I've become older, especially since I've aged out of the foster care system, I've been kind of forced to spend a lot of time alone. And as you all know, I have my own room in the shelter. And I was here through a whole pandemic. So, what I mean to say is you think that you're good being alone and, because you're forced to do it and, you just adapt to it. But deep down inside, I don't like being alone. It really makes me really sad. So I want to give a special shout out to my girl, Carol. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you for that to-go plate was everything, child. I had food for like 3 days, okay? And I kind of like split them up. So for the lasagna, I literally had an Italian night with the beni, with the rice and peas. I definitely had like a little Spanish night. And baby, the mac cheese, the turkey, and the fucking collard greens and the yams. Did I say that? It was the yams, the turkey, the collard greens, and the macaroni and cheese. That was definitely African American night, honey. So I wanted to thank you so much. I appreciate you as a friend. And yeah, it's just really hard during the holidays because it's always it's Thanksgiving, boom. It's Christmas, boom. It's New Year's, boom. And then of course right after that is my birthday. So it's like all of these events that I've went through in my life have never been great. And as an adult, I've kind of learned to cope by working and or not being sober. Uh, but I really went dark, and I went dark. I went to a really dark place, and I just wanted to say to my bestest of friends, thank you all so much. Shaquana, Felicia, your words, they got me through. Even though I told you I needed space, they got me through. So I definitely appreciate you, and I'll love you all forever. Forever, forever. To all of the people that reached out to me on my Instagram with encouraging words, those who've reached out with their phone numbers and told me to drop a line whenever I need, I definitely appreciate you. Not saying that I'll call ya, but because I've kind of literally, learned to kind of just speak to my therapist and my closest friends because I've already been burned, honey. Okay. That's how y'all know I'm in the shelter. Because y'all wouldn't have known I was in the shelter if I didn't get burned. So I was going to give that to you easily. So I do remember on my last show, well, let me just close that off and let you know that I am doing okay. I am in a really good space. Keep me in your thoughts for Christmas. Keep me in your thoughts for New Year's. And definitely keep me in your thoughts for my birthday. So my birthday is like a month from Christmas, so it's January 25th. Christmas is the 25th. But this year, Christmas won't be so bad. My bestie is doing a little dinner at her house, so I'll definitely be attending, so I won't be alone on Christmas Day. And New Year's, I'm not sure, I'm really not sure. But maybe I'll just throw a party on here and, party live with you all on YouTube. But with that being said, I'm in a good place and I appreciate the love. Thank you. And that's why it's important to seek connections and not validation, honey. Okay, so I do remember on the last show, I let you all know that I was doing a toy drive. So I thought that I'd have that information by this show, but I don't. And that is okay. So I'm working on it. As soon as I get that information, I'll drop it on all of my socials. I'm going to go live on YouTube. I'm going to let you guys know where you can go ahead and donate. For the toy drive, we have two options here. It's either for children that are currently in the psychiatric ward in the hospital, which is fucking heartbreaking, and for children that are currently in the foster care system right now, which is also heartbreaking. So, what I've learned to do and what I enjoy is giving back. And because I can't physically give it, I'm going to use my platform to rally up the folks so y'all can go ahead and give in honor of my name. So I appreciate it. And with that being said, yeah, it was kind of weird coming here to film today. I had to adapt. I have a new man living upstairs. He's banging every 3 fucking seconds. So I had to kind of taped this over 3 times. I'm really in my head tonight. Not sure why. But yeah, and then you got the crazy lady over here next to her yelling and screaming. So with that being said, I've had a successful show today. If you all like this content, please go ahead and like the video. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. I'm trying to get paid, honey. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button. If you want to know and you want to be a super supporter, so you know when my videos drop, so you can hurry up and get me them likes as soon as it drops, go ahead and hit the notification bell and comment below your thoughts on the show today. I greatly appreciate you all every week for showing up for me, for little old me. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.